Try, adapt, learn. In this video, we will be changing oil on a 1941 Ford 9N tractor. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe now for more videos including DIY, maintenance, projects, and yard work. We will be doing this on a 9N tractor, but this procedure can be adapted for other Ford N-Series tractors such as the 2N and the 8N tractor. This tractor includes a Ford 4-cylinder L-head engine similar to a flathead. The engine holds 6 quarts of oil. I have not come across any documentation for the torque specification on this engine oil drain plug. Before removing any oil, I wanted to check the engine oil dipstick. The oil seems to be a little bit dark and the oil levels seem to be within operating range. There are a couple things that are unique to this engine oil drain plug at the bottom of the oil pan. The drain plug is very wide. It is over 2 inches or over 50 millimeters wide. Knowing that, I would expect a large volume of oil to come out once the plug is loosened. Although it is a best practice for some to run the engine a little warm or even hot before changing the oil, I did not do this, especially considering the volume of oil that would come out with this drain plug. I wanted to scrape a little bit of paint off in between the edge of the drain plug and the oil pan. I would find out soon that this is the tightest engine oil drain plug that I have ever taken off any engine. I have no idea why this plug was on so tight. I ended up using 2 wrenches together to give me the length to have enough torque to break this free. You can see how I interlocked these wrenches. I would not recommend this to anyone because this is not the proper way to use wrenches and it could likely damage both wrenches. I'm including it in this video so that you know how I did it for this drain plug. The plug itself was cast with a square shape. Because I was using a wrench, I also used a piece of wood and a jack to hold the wood to help to prevent the wrench from falling down. It really took a long time to get this drain plug loose. It was extremely tight. Because this drain plug was so tight, I remember feeling a sense of accomplishment just to see oil coming out of the plug. That, however, was short-lived after seeing the condition of the oil, which seems like it hadn't been changed in a very long time. In addition to that, I could see metallic material within the oil. This is quite discouraging as metallic flakes are likely due to wear from metal parts. Keep in mind that I do not know any of the history of this engine or whether or not it was rebuilt within 80 years of farm service. I can only assume that this metallic material has been circulating within the engine for quite a long time. Also, some of the oil was so thick I had to stick my finger in the bottom of the pan to help wipe away some of that thick oil. I let the oil drain at the bottom of the pan for a little bit of time. I then closed the oil plug slightly so it would be able to gather some of the new oil that I would be using to run through the engine before filling it up. Removing the engine crankcase breather will give access to the location to fill the oil. At this time, I also removed the oil filter from the oil filter housing. The housing itself can collect a little bit of oil, so I wiped it down. I added a little bit of new oil to help remove some of the thicker remaining oil. As seen, I put a little bit of oil on the new gasket. I also brushed some of the threads on the fastener for the oil filter housing. I left the drain plug open again for a bit of time. Since I did not close the oil drain plug completely, it had been slowly draining the new oil which I've been using to flush out some of the old oil. Although this is not a perfect flush process, it was much cleaner than when the oil drain plug was first removed. At this time, I tried to clean out the bottom of the oil drain plug and screen. As seen, the bottom of the plug was pretty filthy. I used new engine oil to help clean out the bottom of this plug. I also used Marvel Mystery Oil to help rinse out the plug. Alternative methods could be replacing the old plug with a new plug-in screen, or using something such as a solvent like gasoline or diesel to clean this out. I felt there would be no harm in using engine oil, and it reduced the time that I would have to wait for new parts. I then removed the old gasket from the drain plug. The air filter in this tractor is unique in that it uses engine oil to help filter out the air coming into the engine. With a wire mesh, it almost works opposite of oil catch cans, which are marketed to help gather oil vapors from crankcase ventilation. So how this works to filter out the air is the wire mesh is constantly covered by oil which air will pass through. The oil will help attract and stick to dirt particles. Once the dirt particles in oil are heavy enough, they will drip down into the main oil storage. This will then create dirty oil that you will exchange for new oil. I did end up changing the engine oil for the air filter, but left the wire mesh alone for now. Although the air filter oil is sealed separately from the engine oil, it is recommended to change the air filter oil at the same time as the engine oil change. The wire mesh looked to be in okay condition and the oil in the air filter was very clean. I did not have a gasket for the oil drain plug, so I decided to cut one using gasket material. I made a template first to check for fit and then used the template on the material. This material is marketed okay for oil, but it is also marketed as non-stick. Without a specification, I just tightened the oil drain plug to be snug, but not over tight. Luckily, I have not seen any leaks from the oil drain plug or from the gasket cut from the sheet of gasket material. At this point, I decided to fill the engine oil. The recommended engine oil viscosity is SAE 30. Since there was none available, I used full synthetic 10W30. As I make new videos, I want to share them with you, so subscribe now. Also comment, like, and check out some of the other content on our channel.